Some that were still in psych cases.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
We can look through all your magazines and learn a lot about you.
I doubt it.
The New Yorker, you're a Dignified man.
Yeah, I like the New Yorker.
You like sports.
Yeah, I like sports. I like the New Yorker.
Obviously, we're doing collage. There's magazines. There's 2 panels that we're all going to collaborate on. So the first panel is the favorite experience panel. And then there's a juxtaposing panel, the feared experience panel. This is all in the context of your human experience of being a psychiatrist. So just kind of remove yourself from your professional role and think about what it's like as a person to go through these things the way that you do. So a favorite experience could be anything from like what originally started you on this path, things that have come about along the way, relationships, things that you've realized about yourself. I mean, for example, something that I thought of the other day was that would go on my favorite panel is that when I pull off the freeway, I'm not afraid of the homeless guy standing there anymore, especially if he looks crazy. I'm actually more afraid of him if he doesn't look crazy. But if it's like the person that everyone else looks afraid of, I don't feel frightened of him, and I'm more likely to kind of maybe say hello or give him something. I feel a connection to that person, which is something that never would have happened if I hadn't decided to go into this line of work. So that's an example of it. It could be very abstract. It could be totally removed from your office. It could be something about the future that you're hoping for. So something, a favored, imagination of a vision of where you hope your own career to go or the profession to go as a whole. And then the feared experience panel is, of course, just the opposite of that. So it's things that have come about in you, fears that have become realized as a result of undergoing this journey. And they could be real, they could be imagined. But this could be fears about the future, about where this will take you. I've had other people talk to me about working in the jails, and the thing that they didn't expect is hearing stories that they never wanted to hear, and now they know things that they never wanted to know. And that's also part of our job, is that we do hear things that we never wanted to know. And it becomes part of who you are. When you have your images, you'll go into the garage. We have a more private space in there. Fabian will be in there. And he will kind of help you assemble your images and layer them and try and bring them into a cohesive story or narrative that reflects what you're trying to express.
So we'll create kind of your piece and then add it into the whole piece.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a good way of bringing all the pieces together.
You're dreaming of women, you're dreaming of fire, you're dreaming of candy, you're dreaming of dogs. And here comes jewelry, and monsters, and skulls, and naked women. We got my evil side going well.
Embrace
fear.
Embrace the
You
fear.
gotta think about evil.
Evil.
If you embrace the fear.
But women are surrounded by men, and define your time. I have this one being a traditional face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is the New World Order coming up.
Interesting. I like it.
Interesting seeing the end product. Those images on this side are just always, it's a lot of emotions and just there's a lot that goes into it. And then on this side, I noticed a lot of people's images were just much bigger and well, a little softer,
To me, psychiatry is really, the core of it is an adventure. So here it says embrace the adventure. So there's a woman who is inspired, optimistic, and going into this land where she can learn, she can enjoy, she can help.
In keeping with the county system where I work, there's a guy here who's living under a bridge. We see homelessness and poverty, and while we can manage maybe some of their psychiatric symptoms, as we all know, they're so intertwined. And when someone's homeless, this here was a guy who was all chained up, and it reminded me back to my intern year in particular, and seeing a lot of restraints used on the inpatient, and how shocked I was when I first kind of came on and I was the signing doctor, I know, and I have a chair here, an empty chair, because I was like, oh gosh, when I do go into practice, like, what if nobody comes?
My positive experiences, my favorite experiences are with the butterflies, because I see psychotherapy and psychiatry as like a metamorphosis within the patients and within myself, because I'm changing with them. And then also hands, like I love hands because it's like reaching out to other people and it's human life. I like this one a lot because it's just something very relaxing about walking on the beach. And then I love trees, especially trees that are very complicated like this with the branches, because I think it resembles people, it resembles the kind of work we do that's really complex. And then I have the tea here because it can be a very relaxing experience too when psychotherapy is done well.
And then this represents metamorphosis of the adolescents. And right now I'm working with the intellectually disabled and people that have microcephaly. But just, you guys, I'm so touched every single day when I go into these group homes, after group home, after group home, and I see the caregivers and how much they love these individuals that they're caring for. It isn't just fake. It's not just when I show up. You don't fake that kind of stuff. And so then I also see the breakthrough of the men, the caring gentleman with his chickens, and the introspective men, and the powerful men, and I want to see that part of life. So, and the eagle and the children, they represent freedom. So that's what that represents.
And the bridge here.
Oh, and the bridge is, for me, bridge. It's a bridge to this direction and to that direction. It's the way that we communicate. So it's a powerful image for me of collaboration, of connection.